Good afternoon, my amigos and senoritas. Matt here from Surplus Trader Secrets. How you doing on a Saturday afternoon? I thought I'd come on and do a little session on what makes a successful finder. And you know, I knew a lot of the reasons why finders are successful, but since coaching students as well, and obviously looking at a lot of information that I'm seeing in my course and my students, what they're doing and what they're up to. You know, I'm getting a lot of data, and I'm starting to see a pattern on why some finders are becoming successful at it, and some finders are not becoming successful at it. And that is always going to happen, you know, with any course. There's always going to be people that take the course and do well. There's going to be people that take the course that don't do well. And yeah, I'm going to discuss these with you because, you know, a lot of these reasons I'm going to give you on what makes a successful finder. A lot of these reasons, you know, I hope will make sense to you. And if you implement, you know, these methods that make a successful finder successful, you know, you can be a successful finder as well. These are the traits, basically. These are the traits of a good finder. And, you know, some of these reasons I'm going to give that are based on my course and on the back of my course. Watching, you know, I'm watching all my students. I'm watching them all from when they take my course, and I'm watching them and I'm watching what they're doing. If you're one of my students and you've taken my course, I can see everything, guys. I can see, you know, what lessons you've watched. I can see what lessons you haven't watched. I can see how much you've watched of each lesson. And it's very interesting because, you know, the guys, this is like starting with reason number one, what makes a good finder is that, you know, there's a pattern now. And, you know, some of the guys that have really studied my course and gone back on it as well. And from what I can see, they're implementing a lot of the different methods that I'm teaching on where to find stock. They're starting to look in the right places with the right companies. And, you know, those guys that have watched the whole course, you know, they've now got all the tools and the knowledge to follow my system step by step. Keep repeating it, rinse and repeat each time you make contact with new companies. And so yeah, so guys, what I've noticed is, you know, there are people that have bought my course and sliding down my chair, and so there are people that have bought my course. Okay, this is normal with, you know, any course that people take. There's always going to be a percentage that don't follow the course properly. There's a few different things they do wrong. They kind of sort of flick through each video and not really watch them properly to the end. You know, they'll just sort of jump around from lesson to lesson. Then there's some that don't complete the actual course. They don't actually watch it from start to finish. And, you know, I can see the percentage of what they've watched, okay, on each video. And so I can see, you know, there's people that are not watching the whole video, or they're not, you know, they're not finished the end of the course. Okay, there's some that might not finish the end of the course yet because, you know, they might have only started it the last month or whatever. So they're fitting it in. I understand that. So yeah, what you want to try and do when you buy into a course, you want to actually devote time. You want to put aside, you know, an hour on a night, put your headphones on, and just focus, okay? Focus right from the beginning and watch each lesson right through, okay? Make notes of each lesson as well. And, you know, make notes after lesson 1, lesson 2, and just be focused. And at the end of that lesson, say to yourself, right, did I understand that lesson properly? So yeah, I know I might be, you know, I know I'm on the main group here, but I'm actually, I think it's useful for people that are not in the course as well, because, you know, I want them to see what makes a successful finder. You know, what makes a successful finder. And, you know, I've just thinking now, just thought of another reason, a really, really good reason. So let's go to number 2. So when you've watched the videos in the course and you start implementing them, the methods that I show you, how to get hold of companies and, you know, building your contacts and emailing them, etc. So these guys that, you know, one of the reasons that makes a successful finder is that they are being super consistent every week. They're being really consistent with implementing those methods that they're learning. And that is one of the tricks to anything that you learn, any course, any skill you learn. You know, anything you learn, if you are consistent with it all the time, then that is going to, without a doubt, you know, get you finder's fees, because you're consistent every week, you're consistent every other day or whatever, or every day. You know, even like I've said before in my videos, you only need to spend a bit of time each day. Get up an hour early and, you know, do it, but do something every day. When you've learned the course and you're implementing my methods, you've got to be consistent with it. That's how you've got to be. And, you know, when you're not consistent, that is not going to make you a successful finder, okay? You won't ever be a successful finder, you know, playing at it one day a week. You know, I don't force people to, you know, work full days on it like I do, because I'm doing it full time. You know, you might get into it full time, but if you're doing it on the side of your job, I fully understand you're working all day, but get up an hour early and do it. You know, I'm up early. I've done 3 hours work before some people get out of bed. I'm not trying to brag. It's just that I get a lot done very early on the morning. And believe me, it's worth it, guys. Can you imagine getting up an hour early over a year? How many days in the year are there? 365 days. That's 365 hours you could spend as a finder, okay? Just getting up 1 hour early on a morning and doing stuff, you know, learning, doing exactly what I'm teaching, you know, getting out there and contacting people, finding surplus stock. An hour every morning before you normally get out of bed. If you get up at 7:30, get up at 6:30. Do an hour. Over a year, that's 365 hours you've done. And that's not even mentioning what you could do on a night when you finished work. So what I'm saying is that, you know, if you are consistent every single day as a finder, I guarantee you will make money in this business, because it only ever requires consistency as a finder. You can't just work for a few hours one day and then 3 days later do it again. That doesn't work in the finder's business. You've always got to be doing a little bit, you know, little wins each day. You know, little wins can be making 10 new contacts every day. That's a little win to me. A little win isn't just about earning a finder's fee. A small win can be just making 10 new contacts, right? All you're doing is each day you're planting the seed. You're planting the seed. That's what makes a good, successful finder. planting the seed each day, because every day that you make contacts, there's just going to be one that will fucking explode. It will just explode and make you some money, okay, out of these contacts that you find. Number 3, okay, you know, you may not find surplus inventory for, you know, a week or even a few weeks. If you're young in this business, don't think you're just going to take the course and get loads of offers every single day. No, that doesn't happen, okay? And, you know, I'll go on to another point that's related to that. But all I'm saying is you can go a week, you can go a few weeks without getting offered any surplus inventory, okay? That's normal. That is normal. It can also be the other way. You can get offered surplus stock every day. It's just about, you know, at that moment in time, who you are contacting. But the great thing about the trait, you know, the successful finders is that they don't think, you know, oh, I've just done this all week and I haven't been offered any surplus inventory. They keep going. And if they don't get offered any stock for a few days, like I won't. Well, actually, no, I get offered stock every day. But if you don't get offered stock for a few days, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, it takes me back. This takes me back to when I was a lot younger, in my early 20s, a long time ago. And, you know, one of my jobs that I did years ago, before I was a finder and in the surplus inventory business, I used to do door-to-door sales, okay? And I used to knock on the door, and I used to sell cleaning services. And I'd have a sales pitch, and I'd say, hi, Matt here from Classic Cleaning Services. I can't remember what it was called. Classic Cleaning Services. And we're just in the area, and I'm wondering if you'd like your sofas cleaning or your curtains or even carpets. Can I give you a price? And, you know, we've got the guys in the area with the machines, and we can do you a very special offer. And, you know, a lot of people, no thanks, shut the door. Okay, so I walk to the next house. Same again, same pitch. Hi, Matt here from Classic Cleaning Services. Just in the area, and I wondered if you'd like your sofas cleaning or maybe your curtains or carpets. We're doing a very special offer today. No thanks, door closes. Okay, so I was doing that, and then eventually I was getting a sale. Okay, but I was getting knocked back. You know, I was getting turned away. The doors were closing on me, but I kept going. I kept going and I kept going. And that was the secret. That's the secret. Keep going, even if you get knockbacks, even if you're not getting offered any surplus inventory. Keep going, okay? Because tomorrow you might get offered some surplus inventory. Don't get downhearted because you haven't been offered any surplus inventory, okay? You know what I mean? It's the same in any business. You could be a car salesman in a car showroom, and, you know, 5 different customers come in looking at cars, and you might not sell a car to any of them. You might sell a car to one of them, or you might get a maybe, I'll think about it. It's the same for anyone. It's a numbers game, guys. It's a numbers game. And, you know, as it's a numbers game, if you don't keep going, then you're not going to hit numbers, okay? You're not going to hit the numbers of companies that you contact. Connections that you make, okay? You know, keep focused and just keep going. Don't worry that you've not been offered any surplus inventory. You know, one of the great reasons why successful is because they don't think about those days where they've not been offered any surplus inventory. They're thinking about the days that they're getting offered surplus inventory. Okay, and they're looking and looking and looking. They're going and going and going and trying and trying and trying. Never give up. Never give up. Finders, successful finders, never give up. Which is, you know, that's one of my best traits. That's probably why I've been successful at it for 29 years. Because, you know, a lot of people actually tell me that I'm one of the most resilient guys that they know. And, you know, if you don't know what resilient means, look it up in the dictionary. If your English isn't great, resilient, it means, you know, you're very strong, you'll keep fighting, and you get knocked down, but you keep getting back up, and you keep going. You might get knocked down, you might not get any surplus inventory offers, but you get back up, you keep going. That's the same. You know, I'm not just saying this. You know, this is the same in any industry, any business. You've got to keep going in order to be successful at what you do. You know, it's the ones that don't keep going, the ones that curl up in a ball and, you know, feel sorry for themselves. And no, you got to keep going. That's what makes a successful finder, guys. Number 4. So, you know, people might actually get offered some surplus inventory. You know, a finder might get offered surplus inventory, but the deal might not happen. The deal might not happen. And, you know, some of you guys in the course, I know you've been offered surplus inventory and nothing's happened yet. And that's just the nature of this business. As I say, it's like any business. Not every deal is going to be a workable deal. It just isn't. It's, you know, the price just might not be able to be agreed. You just might not be able to find a buyer who's interested in that stock. But, you know, on the other side of the coin, you're finding a lot of stock that people are interested in as well. And, you know, that's just how it is. You don't think that every surplus inventory offer is going to be like, you know, it's going to be like gold. It's going to be like incredible and, you know, a winner. Not every surplus inventory deal you get offered is, you know, it's not a winner. It's not a good deal. It just hasn't got the potential. It just might be the wrong product, you know, and it just might be the wrong price indication. It could be the wrong location. It could be too small in quantity. You know, there's a lot of criteria why a surplus inventory offer just might not work. You know, if I'm offered a small quantity of something in one country, but, you know, I might have a buyer interested in another country, it might just not work out because it's just too small to transport. The quantity is just too small to transport. There's just no profit there to be made, and it's just one of them things. You know, that's one of the big reasons why, you know, you might get offered a surplus inventory. That is one of the reasons, is that, you know, the quantity might be too small to make the deal workable. To make the deal workable between the buyer and the seller, because, you know, there's logistics involved somewhere, and, you know, normally it's going to be the buyer that's going to be collecting the goods, and, you know, he's going to be getting shipping quotes, he's going to be getting a price to collect those goods, and, you know, he's going to look at his shipping costs and he's going to see, well, you know, is he going to make some profit in that deal after the transport costs? And, you know, he might not be able to make the deal, so he might have to offer a lot less to the supplier, but the supplier won't come down that far on price, and then that's the end of it, really. And, you know, but this is what I say, go back on those old deals, because, you know, you can go back on those deals that didn't happen 3 months ago, and you can resurrect them, and you can make those deals happen again. That's another great trait of a good finder. They are, you know, a lot of deals that finders do are from going back to old deals that didn't happen, you know, weeks ago or months ago. The deal just didn't happen. But, you know, 3 months later, that deal could happen again. Not again, for the first time. That deal could happen. Because the supplier might just think, oh, it's 3 months later, I'm still sat on that stock. oh, I'm going to have to drop the price more then. And so you get in touch with the buyer and say, look, they've dropped the price more. Can you make a deal happen now? And, you know, I make a lot of old deals happen. You know, it's amazing how old deals, you know, they might be dead. Like I say, they might not work now. But it's your job to keep in touch with your suppliers. And, you know, call them up a few months after. Have you still got that stock? Have you still got that stock? And if they have, you know, why? Why have they still got that stock? You know, because they wanted too much money for it. So, you know, now they might start getting a bit more realistic with the price level. Does that make sense? So that's what can happen, you see. Sometimes you get offered surplus inventory and the price might be unrealistic to the buyer that, you know, you are showing that inventory to. Or if you're showing it to me, the price to me might be unrealistic and it's just not going to work. You know, they won't come down enough on price. You've got to walk away, guys, from those deals, but you've got to keep in touch with them. Okay, don't forget any deals that you get offered. They can still happen a few months later. That's the great thing about being a finder. You get second and third chances on deals, you know, that didn't happen a few months ago. You get another chance. You get another chance. If they've still got the stock, maybe they got rid of it. Maybe they sold it somewhere else at a better price. Sure, that can happen as well. But you will find a lot of the time that companies still have the stock that they offered you. You know, if you were offered some surplus inventory in January, okay, then they might still have it now. And we're in March. We're in March tomorrow. So, you know, 2 months later, whatever, they might still have that stock. And that is basically, you know, you've planted the seed for a second chance on that deal. That's the great thing. Could be another opportunity on that deal. Also, as well, the first time, maybe we couldn't get a buyer interested. But a few months later, if the stock is still there, maybe we can get a buyer interested because circumstances change. And, you know, you might not have found a buyer interested in January. It can be quiet in the new year. They might not have money to spend. You know, they might not start buying till March. They're just, you know, you might get more interest on something a few months after, you know, on something that you didn't get any interest in. So what I'm talking about is when you get offered surplus inventory and, you know, you either bring it to me and I show it, you know, to my buyers, but I get no interest, or you just show your own buyer contacts and you don't get any interest either. Well, you know, a few months later, the circumstances can change. And, you know, buyers that you offer it again to, they could be interested this time. It's just, you know, it's just at a different time. A few months ago, they weren't interested. A few months later, yeah, they might be interested. So circumstances change and buyers can be interested in something that they weren't interested in a few months ago, but a few months later, they are interested. So you're resurrecting that deal. You're getting a second chance at that opportunity. That's another great trait in a successful finder, guys. He goes back on old deals that didn't happen. Okay. And he's all, you know, is going back to these suppliers and saying, have you still got that stock that you offered me in whenever, January or whatever? Oh, right. You still got it, have you? Okay. Let's relook at it. And I'm going to see what I can do. If you're willing to be a lot more negotiable on the price, then, you know, maybe we can do something this time. So, yeah, you know, good finders, they never forget to go back on old deals that didn't happen. They didn't happen then, but they could happen now. Okay? That makes a good finder. Number 5. Yeah. Number 5 is, it's very much about you as a person. And, you know, if you, I can see this from, you know, my course and the people that have been through all the course. I can see they've covered it all. And, you know, that to me, that means that they've got hunger. They are hungry. They are probably more hungry than anyone else that have taken the course, because they've covered it all in the lessons. And obviously I can see that they're getting offered surplus inventory as well. You know, they're following things through. You know, that is very much down to be hungry. That's very much down to being hungry, you know, wanting to do well at something. And, you know, if anyone who's got hunger in them, they don't, how can I put this? They don't know what, you know, giving in means. Okay. They don't know what giving in means. They're just too hungry. So they don't ever have in the mind, you know, what if this don't work? What if this don't work? All they've got in the mind is they're just hungry to make this work. And, you know, that's a good trait of a successful finder. You know, you're hungry. You're hungry to make, you're hungry to make deals happen. You're hungry to find some surplus inventory. You're hungry to build connections. You're hungry to make connections. You're hungry to contact people. You're fearless. Getting hold of people, and you're just hungry to make things happen. So you're doing everything that's required of you. You know, you're following it all up, what you've learned, and you're just doing it, and you are hungry. You're a hungry person to be successful as a finder. And, you know, it's normal that you're going to have a load of people, and there are some people that are hungrier in this business than other people. That's just, it's normal. It's normal in anything, you know. Like I'm going back to that, saying this again, it's normal in any business or industry. There are some people hungrier to make things happen than others. And, you know, a lot of that is to do with focus. That is very much to do with focus. When you're hungry, you are making sure that you stay focused on what you need to do. And if you lose that focus, you're not hungry enough. If you're not focused, you're not hungry enough to be a finder. Okay. And I would probably say that if you're not hungry to be a finder and actually, you know, really work hard at it, then yeah, you might make some money in this business, but you probably won't be successful in this business either. And probably chances are you might not actually stay in it a long time. Because, yeah, I'll go into this afterwards. My next reason, which is a big reason for anyone who comes into this business learning to be a finder and, you know, sourcing and finding surplus inventory. You know, it's normal for some people to be very impatient. They think that, you know, they can take the course. In fact, what I'm seeing is some people, they've not even completed the course, but they're still trying to do it. They're still trying to have a go. And, you know, they might find one offer in a week and pass it to me, and I don't do anything with it for the reasons I've explained. And, you know, they'll sort of think, oh, it didn't work. And basically being patient, they're desperate for it to happen straight away on the first deal that they find. And that's just not going to happen, guys, because you've got to be patient in this business. And it's one of the things that makes a very successful finder is that you have to be very patient with each thing, with each surplus inventory deal that you find. You've got to be patient with it. Like I say, the deal might not happen. It might happen a few months later, you know, like I said, when you go back on old deals that you've been offered that didn't happen. And, you know, some deals, they might maybe drag on for a few weeks, trying to get interest from buyers. Might not happen like that. You get some deals that just, they'll happen like that. Straight away you get interest. But what I'm trying to say is, you've got to look at the long term as a finder. That's what makes a successful finder, is that the very patient people who are thinking long term with this business. Okay, thinking of, you know, if you think, right, I'm going to be a professional finder, do you think you're going to be successful within the first few weeks or months? Probably not. You might get some deals, of course, but successful, you can't really call yourself a successful finder until, and this isn't even about the money, I'm talking about successful as in, you know, successful as in, you know, your knowledge, building your knowledge in this business, successful as in building your connections. You know, you've been successful in building some good quality connections. It's not just about being successful and having that money in the bank. You've got to be, you know, without being successful at getting good connections, finding the right companies, getting offered the right surplus inventory, and all these little ingredients, all these little nuts and bolts. Without all them things, you're not going to be financially successful. So, you know, a lot of guys, they'll find stock, and straight away I'm thinking they haven't watched that lesson where I've shown them what type of companies to find stock from. And I say to them, where did you find that stock that you've been offered? Oh, I found it from a surplus stock company, clearance company offered me it. And I'm saying to them, well, I don't teach that. I don't teach you to find stock, surplus stock from other surplus stock companies. What I teach you guys is how to find surplus inventory direct from the source, right? You're at the top of the ladder. You're not getting offered stock down the line from a surplus stock company who are making money on stock. They're not losing money on stock when they offer you stock. Okay, yeah, it might be discounted, but it's just, you know, I want to be buying it from where they're finding it from, okay, or where the people that they've bought it from, where they're finding it from. I want to find stock direct. That's what I'm teaching in the course. That's what I'm teaching you guys in the course. So, you know, I can tell straight away they've not watched that lesson properly, because, you know, why they're finding surplus inventory with that company. I don't teach to go and find surplus inventory from that type of company. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. I don't buy surplus inventory from other surplus inventory companies, other stock lot companies. Go Google them. There's loads of surplus stock companies, okay? And a lot of them are, you know, a lot of them are selling stock that they've bought from other surplus stock companies. And, you know, you can tell that reflects in the price as well. And, you know, a lot of these surplus stock companies, they don't, you know, they don't find surplus inventory direct from source. They don't at all, no. So what I'm teaching you finders is to go, I'm showing you how to find it at the top of the ladder, you know, not down the line where it's been sold, bought and sold a few times. What's the point of finding surplus inventory that's already been bought and sold, bought and sold? Okay. And another as well, you know, a few guys have offered me inventory, and I've said, the company that's offered you the stock, do they own the stock? So they go back and ask, do they own the stock? And they come back and say, no, they don't own the stock. They've been offered the stock. You know, so basically my finders that are studying the course are being offered stock from a broker, basically a broker. They're not being offered it from the company who physically owns that stock. Another big mistake, guys. So this is what I'm talking about. You know, I know I've swayed off subject a little bit, but patience. You've got to be patient in this game. In the finders business, you've got to be patient, okay? And if you are patient, you are going to be successful as a finder, okay? You've got to be successful in any business. When it's your own business, you've got to be patient. Of course, you've got to be patient. You know, don't think you're going to be winning the lottery every day or, you know, get rich quick every day. No way, okay? You've got to be patient. The guys who are patient win the game. Always win in business. The guys who are patient. The ones that are not patient will always struggle in business and always struggle to make money. And you've got to be patient. You've got to be very patient, okay? And that is a great trait of a successful finder. Another great trait of a successful finder is that they are always, as well as always being busy, you know, being consistent and doing stuff, they're always trying various methods, you know, various methods across maybe different product categories, maybe trying different industries. So, you know, they might test, they might test a load of companies across a specific product category. And maybe it's just not working. So they'll look at another product category and try that. And, you know, keep testing different product categories and contacting companies across, you know, different product categories, seeing which results are better. You know, maybe they might get better results with specific types of companies, you know, or specific countries or locations or industries, different industries. So, you know, they're just trying different stuff. They're not just sticking with one product and then all they're doing is looking for that one type of product. So, you know, they might just stick with looking for sports related products and just do that all the time. That's fine, you know, if you prove to yourself that it's working. But if it's not, then, you know, jump to something else and try different product categories. That's the good trait of a finder. And, you know, what I've done over many years is, you know, I've tried every single, well, I can't even say that because I probably haven't tried every single product category. Probably not. Maybe category, but not product, not actual products. That'd be impossible. You know, I don't think I've dealt with every single type of product you can think of. Maybe something within that broad product category, but not, you know, not subcategories. You know, like say sports products. I've dealt with a lot of different types of sports products. There's probably some sports products I haven't dealt with. So yeah, you know, a successful finder is trying different things all the time, and you know, they're spotting things, they're trying things out, they're getting ideas, and they're always looking for ideas. And they'll see an idea of a product and they'll go, right, I'm going to hit this hard and I'm going to start finding companies that sell that type of product and get in touch. And, you know, they're just proactive. They're just proactive. And, you know, another good reason, I think this is about number 7 now. 8, number 8. Yeah, number 8, 7, number 7. So, you know, a lot of people, I understand, can be a bit nervous or apprehensive of making connections. Even, you know, even if they have to maybe get on the telephone, that might be a bit daunting for some people. And, you know I teach in my coaching program, it's like 99% online. But, you know, there's going to be that 1% of the time that you might have to get on the telephone with that supplier that's offered you inventory. It's just, you know, it's how it is. But as long as you learn my course properly and you know the basics of what a finder does, then you will you know, you will be able to get on the phone with the supplier and explain, you know, what you do, and any questions you don't understand or anything you don't understand, you say, I'll get back to you on that. That's all, and you can ask me. But yeah, you know, another good trait of a successful finder is they're not afraid to be making new connections all the time. They're not afraid to be getting themselves well connected with well-connected people. They're not afraid of approaching anyone in any position in any company. You know, they're not afraid of, you know, trying to connect with directors on LinkedIn. And that's a great trait of a successful finder. You know, you're aiming high. You're aiming high. You want to find people high up in that company. And you know, guys, one of my great trainings, and, you know, one of my great strengths is LinkedIn. And, you know, I give you everything I know about making connections on LinkedIn. I give you some great knowledge in my course on how to make the right connections and how to get very well connected on LinkedIn with, you know, with the right people in these companies, and get connecting with them. And, you know, these connections that you're making consistently as well, they're going to lead to making money. They're going to lead to making finder's fees. There's no doubt about it, because you are as good as your connections. And it doesn't matter what business you're in or what industry you're in, you are only going to be as good as the connections that you've got. Okay? And if you haven't got that many connections and you haven't got that many good connections, you're not going to be a successful finder. However, if you are making good connections and you're making good connections consistently, okay, then that is only going to make you a successful finder. You know, building good connections. A lot of people, you know, they don't make enough connections. Quantity wise, I'm talking about. A lot of people don't make good connections, but good quantities of connections. People might make a lot of connections, but the actual quality of the connections are shit. You know, some people might not have many connections, but those small amount of connections are very good connections. Okay, you know, some of those very good connections could lead to making you finder's fees every month, or several times a year. But some people could have a lot of connections, and a lot of them are not very good connections. You know, average connections. That's why I always encourage my students to be consistent, finding new connections all the time, because you can't ever rely on reaching a point where you can say to yourself, okay, yeah, done. I've got enough connections made. You know, I've got a couple of thousand connections, done. That's it. Don't need to make any more connections. I've got a few thousand there. I'm going to email them each month, and that's it. That'll do me. That'll do me. I don't need to make any more connections. And, you know, I'm going to make finder's fees on those 2,000 connections that I've made, and you know, I'm going to be successful. No, 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 not at all. A successful finder is always making new connections. Okay. And if you ask me the question, oh, okay, Matt, so you've been doing it 29 years. Are you telling me that you're still making new connections after 29 years? Are you ready for the answer? Yes. Yes. And yes. I am making new connections every week. Okay. It might be 1 or 2. It might be 10. It might be 100. It might be thousands if I'm, you know, building lists from a directory or something. If I'm just doing it, you know, a regular week where I haven't got a VA building me a list, or, you know, I'm not building lists myself, I might just spot a connection, just one on LinkedIn. Or I might just get a connection that's approached me, you know, or various methods like I teach. You know, I might get a connection from a connection that I made. You know, I might get an amazing connection from someone who's my connection. Does that make sense? And this is what starts happening as a finder. You are basically like, you're like the Terminator with making connections. You are like the Matrix on, you know, getting well connected. You are getting yourselves well connected with people. When you start doing that, okay, you're going to start making connections from the connections that you've made. Does that make sense? So these connections that you make, that I teach, that person in that company is now a connection that you've made. And from that one person in that company, potentially you can make other connections through that one person. Okay. And that is from building a relationship with that person. And I've done this before. I'm not going to go any more into it because, you know, that you'll learn a lot about this in the course. But the great thing about getting yourselves well connected is that you don't have to, a lot of the time, you don't have to start searching for connections. You can actually get connections through your existing connections. Okay. You can get connections from your existing connections. Okay. It's amazing, guys. It's amazing. And that is just like, it's pure gold. It's like a gold mine as a finder, getting connected with someone through one of your connections. That's like a gold mine when, you know, someone's approached you and said, oh, you're connected with this guy. Yeah, he's put me in contact with you because I've got some inventory that I want to get rid of. You know, that's what starts to happen. They know you're a finder, and you know that guy that you've connected with, he'll recommend you. He'll recommend you to someone else. You will get referred. You will get referrals. He's got someone that he knows in his, maybe, you know, in his industry that might have some surplus inventory. So this is what starts happening. And this is when you start getting patient and you get into this business with the thought, with the mindset of a long-term, okay, a long-term mindset. If you've got a long-term mindset, you start to see things really, really happening as a finder. Okay, you start long-term, you see how things start to happen. Think about it. If someone, you know, if people know that you've been a finder for a while, you know, a year or two, and you know that you're their go-to person when they've got some surplus inventory. They know you've been in the business a while. You start getting a name for yourself. You start getting recommended by people. People start to notice you, or maybe hear about you. They might hear of you through one of their contacts. And, you know, it's amazing how that snowball effect happens with a finder. And, you know, it's true. It's very true that, you know, if the longer you stay in this business, the more successful you are going to be in this business, because, you know, as each year goes by, you are making more and more connections and contacts, and you're just getting more well connected, and with different people. You're just meeting new people all the time. Like I teach, you know, there's ways of doing it, lots of ways of reaching out to people, making contacts with people, you know, from, you know, cold calling, which is obviously the coldest way to make contacts, right through to reaching out to a specific person that you found. And, you know, these are the methods that I'm teaching you guys. You get yourself well connected in the finders business, and you will make money in this business. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, I'm going to call it a day there, guys. But it's been an interesting one, because there are a lot of reasons what make a good, you know, and successful finder. And, you know, the difference between a good finder and a bad finder are these reasons I've given you. So if you haven't watched it, go back and watch all these reasons. And if you follow through these traits, these reasons what make a finder successful, and, you know, you follow these, there's no doubt about it. You know, you're going to be successful as a finder. You've got to be a certain way to be a successful finder. You know, I've gone through all these reasons, and like I say, a lot of these are from what I'm seeing with my own eyes from all my students, and what they're doing, right from starting my course right through to finding surplus inventory. And, you know, some are not finishing the course. Some are not watching all the lessons all the way through. Some are not looking for the right stock, or not looking at contacting the wrong type of companies. And, you know, I'm seeing all this, and that means, you know, I'm reading a lot of data. I'm seeing a lot of reasons why some of my students are starting to become successful at this, and I'm seeing reasons why some of my students are not being successful at it. And, you know, a lot of them are on different levels. Some are still in the middle of the course, working hard at it. Some are jumping in and out of the course, and, you know, not really watching each lesson properly. Some are, if you're thinking, how do I know this? Because the platform that my course is on, okay, in the back end that I can see, not that you can see, I can see what percentage of videos my students have watched. Okay, I can see if they've watched 100% of that video lesson, or I can see if they've watched only 30% of that video lesson. Yes, guys. So if you haven't watched all of a lesson all the way through, I can see what lessons you've watched, which ones you've watched all the way through or not. And, you know, I can see where you are in that course. I can see what you're up to. And so studying that information has helped me see, you know, which ones are things are starting to happen a little bit. You know, a few are getting deals and earning finder's fees. And, you know, don't forget, guys, this is really early days. You guys that are coming into this program, and anyone thinking of coming in, you are getting into this early days, guys, okay? I've only been teaching this for about a year, and already I'm getting students' results, which is bloody great. I love that. But you know, it's early days as far as you know, giving you my knowledge and watching people get results. But obviously, over a certain amount of people who have taken the course, there's some that are becoming successful at it and some that are not. And obviously, you know, I'm not talking about the ones that have just got into it over the last month. I'm talking about maybe they've got into it over the last 2 or 3 months, or 4 months or 5 months. Okay. So, guys, I'm going to leave it there. All right, Roman, how you doing? Diana, how are you? And anyone else who's enjoyed this, go back and, you know, watch this. And you will, this is based on real data that I am reading on the back of my program, on the back of my Finders program. And so if you translate these, you know, what my successful finders are doing themselves, if you actually do those things, you will start to find that you will start becoming successful as a finder as well. And, you know, there are reasons why these guys are starting to become successful at it. You know, go back and watch, and I'll tell you exactly what they're doing right. They're doing a lot of things right, and there's people that are doing a lot of things wrong. If you just do all the right things, guys, you do all the right things, and you think long term, be patient. Okay, I've never ever promoted this business as a, you know, get rich quick business. It's a real business. It's a great recession proof and future proof business. And, you know, there's no such business as get rich quick. Don't come into my course thinking you're going to start making thousands of pounds every week straight away, because you're not. Okay, yeah, there's a very, you know, there's a slim chance that you might just find a great deal straight away and get very lucky, and we make thousands of pounds or euros or dollars. It can happen as well, of course, but the chances are, you know, you're not going to make thousands straight away. You're not going to make thousands of pounds or euros or dollars. You're not gonna. What you're doing is at the beginning. Okay, you know, the beginning, the first few months, year, or whatever, you're building. Yeah, you're going to be offered surplus inventory. Don't worry. Yeah, you're going to get offered it. But, you know, the first 3, 6, 12 months of the year, you're focusing on, you're building your foundations. You're building the backbone of your Finders business. And that basically is nothing but building connections. Okay, building connections, meeting people, connecting with people, the right people. Okay, that I'm teaching you to find the right companies, the right types of companies, the right types of people. But yeah, you got to think long term. You've got to think, okay, I'm going to take this course in, you know, 3 to 6 months. I'm going to have all these contacts that I've made. And, you know, some of them are, you know, some of them are good connections, but I'm still going to be making new connections each week, and I'm going to be doing that consistently. And you're going to make money if you keep building connections, and that is pretty much the backbone of this business. As a finder, you know, it's like that saying, your network is your net worth. Okay, I'll say that again. Your network is your net worth. That means your contacts are what are worth, you know, what money you can make as a finder. What money you can make as a finder are based on the contacts that you've got. Okay, so you know, the better quality of contacts and the more contacts, the more just get a drink, the more chance you're gonna be successful in this business. That's how it works. So you know, you are gonna be successful if you get yourselves well connected in this business. And you know, my course is jam-packed with methods on how to build connections. And you know, I go strong. I give you a lot of, you know, huge content on, you know, building various types of connections. There's a lot of different methods. And you know, that is what it's down to as a finder. You've got to get yourselves well connected. You've got to find the right contacts that you are ultimately getting offered surplus inventory from, that ultimately earns you your finder's fees. Okay, without you finding that contact, you wouldn't get offered any surplus inventory that would earn you finder's fees. Okay, so you got to do one thing to get the other. To get the other, you got to make that contact to get that surplus inventory to make that deal happen. Okay, or might not happen, but might happen in the future. At the end of the day, you are looking at contacts that you make as a long-term thing. You know, if you get offered surplus inventory off of one contact that you make, you're going to get offered more stock from them in the future. There's no doubt about that. So, you know, they're a long-term, it's a long-term thing with these connections that you're making. And that's the great thing. You know, you've got them for life. These connections that you're making, you have got a connection for life. It doesn't even matter if that connection you've made works for a different company. They might move job and work for a different company. There's still a connection. You know, eventually that connection you made might not work for a company. They might own a company. You know, you don't know that. You know, a guy that you were connected with a few years down the line, he might actually maybe have his own company, his own business. This is what happens. People change jobs. People start their own businesses. So all these connections you're making, you know, their circumstances can change as well, which can obviously create opportunities for you as well. So I'm going to call it a day there, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed that actually, because, you know, a lot of it's been very interesting. I'm really enjoying looking at, because it's kind of the first time for me, obviously, because this is new for me. You know, I'm looking at an overall picture of how all my students are doing. And, you know, it's great that I can see how are they doing, how are they starting to do well at this? And, you know, why are they not doing so well at it? And, you know, and I can find the reasons why some people taking the course are becoming successful at it. And I can see, you know, I'm starting to see reasons why some people are not becoming as successful at it yet. Or, you know, some are just not following the course properly. They're just not completing it even. That bought it, you know, 3 or 4 months ago. Or even a few months ago, never finished some of the lessons. And, you know, looking at the wrong companies, looking for the wrong type of stock. As I say, they've just gone out and rushed. They've just gone out and tried to go find surplus, but they've not studied the course properly. And that shows, that is showing in the type of surplus inventory that they're being offered, or the type of companies that they're approaching, or it also shows because they've not even been offered any surplus inventory, okay? Or it shows that they might have one surplus inventory offer maybe every few weeks, one offer every few weeks. That shows, you know, that's nothing to do with the data in my courses. That shows that someone isn't being consistent looking for surplus inventory. They're just like they're finding some, showing it to me, and then they're just sitting back and waiting to see if I can do something with it. They're not carrying on looking and looking and looking and looking. That's what you got to do. If you find surplus inventory, sure, show it to me, but you keep focused on doing what I'm teaching you. Keep finding it, keep finding it, keep finding it. You got to keep stacking these offers up that you find. That is also a good, you know, a good trait of a successful finder. All they're thinking about is finding the next lot of surplus inventory after they've found one. Once they've found it, all they're thinking about is finding the next lot and the next lot and the next lot and the next lot. And, you know, they're stacking these offers up and they're giving themselves more chance of making finder's fees because they've got, you know, they've got a few offers going on. They've got a few offers coming in. They're not just one offer and then, you know, a few weeks later, they find another offer. And then a few weeks later, they get offered another offer. No, they're consistently finding offers all the time. That's what they're trying to do, okay? You know, they might not find any for a few days, but, you know, what they're doing is they're being consistent and they're starting to find more. It's starting to come a little bit quicker now. Things are starting to get offered to them a bit more often. And that's because they're being consistent, building new contacts, making new connections, emailing companies. And they're doing all the right things. And they're doing all the right things. They're getting them, they're doing, you know, a lot of these guys are in day jobs, guys. You know, there's no excuse that you haven't got time. If you're thinking, right, I want to take Matt's course, but I don't think I've got the time. Don't worry about that. You'll make time because get up an hour earlier. Do it an hour after work. Do it a few hours after work. If you're hungry to make money as a finder, okay, like some of these guys are, you will make time to do this, and you will make time to do it consistently, even if it's little, but every day, okay? You won't just work on it and then get offered some surplus inventory and then celebrate that you found some surplus inventory and then just sit back and relax and think, oh, I don't need to do anything now for a while. I've found some surplus inventory. Hopefully that will make me some finder's fees. You know, basically take your foot off the brake. You know, you'll take the foot off the brake. And, you know, that's what happens to some people. But yeah, I'm going to call it a day now. So let's, we'll hook up again, during the week. But guys, yeah, you know, if you're thinking you want to get into the training, so I'm talking to you guys that, have been just thinking about it. You know, if you follow some of these traits that some of these guys are in, you know, that are doing to becoming a successful finder, you can be like that as well, because, you know, it's so true. These are just statistics. These are statistics. And also it is down to you. I know, you know, you've got to have certain things inside of you. It's not just about studying my course, okay? There are things like being consistent, okay? I'm trying to teach you, like, if you're coming into my course, to be consistent with it, but I can't make you be consistent. I can't make you, can I? I can't make you be consistent. Only you can make yourself be consistent. You know, being patient. I can tell you and try and teach you to be patient, but at the end of the day, it's you, and you've got to teach yourself to be patient. So, you know, some of these traits in a successful finder are traits that you've got to do yourself. It's not me teaching you these things. You've got to have it in you. You've got to have it inside you. You've got to have a burning desire to, you know, make this work. You've got to have a burning desire to make this work. And you've got to think, right, tomorrow I'm going to get up at 6:30 in the morning instead of 7:30. And I'm going to work on this for an hour. And I'm going to do it the next day. And I'm going to do it the next day. Or I'm going to come home from work at 6 o'clock and I'm going to have my dinner and I'm going to chill for an hour. And then at 9 o'clock, I'm going to work on this for 2 hours. I'm going to do it from 9 o'clock to 11. And I'm going to be strict. I'm going to be strict with this. And I'm going to set an alert on my mobile phone and it'll beep at 9 o'clock every night. And at 9 o'clock every night, I'm going to work on this until 11 o'clock at night. And I'm going to do that Monday to Friday. You can do it weekends if you want as well. And you're going to do that every week. Every week. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. You watch how things start to happen if you stay consistent. You watch how things happen if you stay consistent and patient, okay? You will make a very, very good and successful finder if you stay consistent and keep doing what I've taught you. Keep doing it and doing it. And you are patient, okay? Those are two things that, you know, my most successful finders that I'm noticing already, you know, they're two of the things that they have. They are consistent and they are very patient, okay? And that is what you need. So if you want to jump into this, guys, if you're not already in, jump in. If you haven't got that hunger, okay, to do well as a finder, please do not waste your money on this course, guys. You know, I'm not just saying this because I'm not bothered. It's not about the money, guys, because I assure you, and these guys will tell you, that I give a lot more of my time for free than I do in, you know, what I get for this course, $197. I give back way more than $197. I give thousands and thousands of dollars back in my time. These guys will tell you in the comments the amount of stuff I do and the amount of content I give is worth thousands and thousands. If you were paying me one-to-one to give you all this content each month in the private group and one-to-one help, you know, on deals that you offer me and stuff, you know, emailing each other and messaging and stuff, you know, it's worth thousands and thousands, and you're getting that for free from me. The wonderful thing about being in this with me and learning a business, a brand new business opportunity, is that you've got a guy here that not only does it himself every day, and of course teaches it, but you've got me to actually, I'm here in the trenches helping you. You know, I'm here helping you on deals. I'm helping you with anything that will, you know, help you move forward. And that's what I'm doing for all of my students. So, you know, I don't just take your money and then you don't hear from me again. And I just come on here every few weeks. Not at all. I'm really, you know, I basically, I break my back to try and help you become, you know, I break my back to help you get results. As long as you study my course properly and you find surplus inventory, you know, I will help you get results. I will help you earn finder's fees. And that's what I'm doing which I do for free, you know. The actual time I put in is, you know, over the week, with a lot of different students, it can take up quite a lot of time. So, you know, that is the value you are getting in my coaching, is that you've got me helping you get results. So, you know, if you want to have a go at this, and you're hungry to have a go, and you really think that this could be for you, and at least you're thinking, you know, I'm prepared to invest $197 to really give this a try and really, you know, really see if this will work for me, maybe on the side of my job or maybe alongside my existing business, then jump in, guys. Give it a go. Give it a go. You know, yeah, if it don't work, you might end up losing $197. But show me one business where you can, show me one business that you can start for $197. Show me a business that you can actually start from $197, where you don't have any offices, you don't have a warehouse, you don't have any employees, you don't have any stock. You know, show me a business where you can make money, where there's no warehouse, there's no employees, there's no office, there's no stock. You know, you can actually be a finder and never ever have any warehousing, never ever have any employees, never have any stock. You'll never ever have to hold any stock or pay for any stock. It's a wonderful risk-free business, very risk-free business. You know, there's no, you don't lose money in this business. That's one great thing. The only thing you might lose if you're not hungry enough is the money that you've paid for the course, which I'm selling too cheap anyway. So anyway, I'm going to call it a day, guys. We'll leave it there. I've been speaking too long. I was only going to do half an hour. We'll leave it there. Take it easy. All the best. Have a great weekend. Blessings to you and your families. All the best.